Story 1. I moved around a lot as a kid. We were the kind of family that would have boxers that would always go unopened and undisturbed between moves. My dad was a good guy but had issue with authority, so he usually had issues keeping a stable job for more than a year or so. When the lease was up, we'd move closer to his new job. Anyways, during one of these moves, my dad found a steal next to his job. It was an old 2-bed 1-bath house with a detached garage. I want to say it was around $300 a month for rent. In 2003, apparently, it was in a rough part of town. The landlord told us I won't go into the specifics, but I am required to tell us that someone had passed away in the house within the last 5 years. My dad saw a great deal and shrugged it off. We moved in soon after, and things started very quickly. There were noises in the house all the time. It was like we had other people living there. It would generally be noises that you'd expect when other people were around. Things like drawers opening and closing, doors swinging around on their own, water turning on in the bathroom, and then back off. Nothing malicious was happening, so we just lived with it. Another weird quirk about the house was that the front door had a keyhole on both sides, so you could not leave the locked house unless you had the keys. You can probably guess where this is going, but not a week or so after we moved in, we lost the keys. Boxes still littered the house, and we were still in unpacking hell. So my dad, obviously stressed from the whole situation, started getting loud about the keys. He accused me of stealing them. He was cursing and being a general pain. Then out of nowhere, we hear the keys hit the floor in the living room right in front of the couch, right onto the floor. He picks them up, tries to rationalize what just happened, says F it, and leaves the house for work. Over the next few months, the stupid keys are the center of the activity. My dad would put them in a glass bowl on top of OutTube TV every day after work, and somehow they would be moved by the morning. My favorite spot by far was when we found them in a sealed box of pots and pans that we needed to unpack. It had those little handle holes on the side of the box, and it's like someone just shoved them into the hole, out of spite. We all got a good laugh out of that one. Right now, you're probably like, okay, what's spin-a-killing about some noises and some keys moving around? Well, here you go. The worst thing that happened fairly frequently was the stomping. Most nights around 2 to 3 a.m. there would be very heavy footsteps pacing in the hallway outside of our bedrooms. I confirmed with my dad when I was older that yes, it kind of freaked him out too. We had been living in this place for about 8 months at this point, and I was probably around 8 years old. I heard the stomping one night and I just couldn't take it. I screamed out into the hallway, "Stop stomping around. I need sleep to goddamn." 15 seconds of silence was abruptly interrupted by what sounded like a bull running full speed to my room. Then my door had 3 very aggressive slamming knocks on after another. It was so loud my dad woke up and came to check on me. My stomach started to turn, and I suddenly felt like I had to use the toilet. I was frozen in bed when I heard my dad call out to me, "You okay, buddy?" from his bedroom. I mustered up the courage to head out to the hallway. As I got up, I could tell something wasn't right. I was shaking like a leaf, and my bowels were trying to evaluate while I was walking. I ran as fast as I could to the toilet, but it did not help. There was a trail from about halfway between my bedroom and the toilet, and my poor dad, worried about my safety, followed me into the bathroom to figure out what the hell just happened. I explained everything, crying on the toilet, making a mess of myself and the house. I was embarrassed and terrified. After this, my dad told me, "If you ever feel uncomfortable, you can come sleep in my room. Nothing can bug you when I'm around." The final straw came a week later. My dad had been dating a girl for over a year, and she had been staying with us more and more. One of the nights she stayed over, they had a really minor fight, right before bed I think. It was about cleaning chores. Anyways, they both went to bed grumpy about it. Right around that magic 2 to 3 a.m. mark, his girlfriend got yanked out of bed by one of her ankles, and got dragged out of the bedroom and down the hallway. By her account, she woke up after she was on the floor, and felt someone pulling on her leg, and it took her a while to realize exactly what was happening. She shrieked, and whatever it was, let go. She ran back into the bedroom and turned the lights on, and explained the whole thing to my dad. He sent me off to an aunt's house, and stayed in the house alone for a few months while looking for another place to go. Figured it would be safer without me there. During the packing and moving out of the house, my dad had some friends swing by to keep him company while he packed. Almost everyone who came by to help mentioned that they saw a small white dog walking around right when they entered the house. Yeah, that place was haunted AF. I still think about it from time to time. Wonder if the people who live there now deal with the same stuff, or if it's all calmed down. My dad's GF had brought a yoga ball to the house, and as a rambunctious 8-yo, I wanted to play with it all the time. She tells me I can play with it, but I have to be careful. So we lightly toes it back and forth down this hallway, and after a minute or two, I toss the ball, and it freezes mid-air before it makes it to her, and comes right back to me. She was mortified. I was too young to realize what happened, and she didn't want to freak out her BF's 8-yo son me, so she quickly just said she didn't want to play with it anymore, and we went and did something else. Story 2. I was driving through northern Nevada alone, and decided to pull over and get a motel room. Driving at night in that region can be dangerous. I initially went to a one-story motel that looked sketchy. I remember slowly going through the parking lot there and thinking, if I'm fast asleep and someone wants to break into my room, there's nothing I can do. So I found a bigger, better-looking multi-story hotel, and went there. The desk clerk was so sweet, and listened to my request for a third or fourth story room. I figured it would be quieter. I probably looked really bedraggled, driving all day. I got off on the wrong floor, and figured there were other elevators to go to on the end of the building. I headed to one, and stood by it, while a full car was descending. The doors opened and I saw a misty apparition vaporize in the empty spot in the elevator car. There were 2 men on the car. The men didn't think anything seemed off as I looked like I was staring at the spot I wanted to stand in. The men walked off the car. I remembered the taller guy had longish hair and a puffer vest over his flannel shirt, and I got on alone. I wasn't creeped out by what I saw. I've seen things like that before. Thankfully I slept well, and my trip went fine, with no more paranormal events. I wonder if what I saw had to do with the taller guy. Who knows? Story 3. One night, a friend and I were hanging out behind a Little Caesars drinking as we were sobering up. She looked at me and asked if I wanted to see something crazy. I told her I absolutely did, as I was always up for seeing crazy shit. However, my friend wasn't the type to do anything above just taking pictures of stray cats doing stupid things, so I figured this was one of those videos. She pulled up her photo gallery on her iPhone and showed me an early photo of her and another girl during recess. I studied the photograph, trying to figure out what I was looking at. I looked at her confused and shrugged. I was confused. She looked at me and asked if I memorized the photo. I told her I did. I just did not understand what the meaning behind it was. She held her hand up to me and told me to wait. She began furiously scrolling through her photo gallery, and when she found the photo, she showed it to me. It was a selfie photo with the same girl earlier, only this time they were in classroom. I studied the photo again, and could see the girl looked disheveled, dirty, weary, or homeless. I slowly looked up at her and clenched my teeth. I asked her what this photo was about, and what the meaning behind it was, as I was ready to scold her over making fun of someone whose family was struggling during trying times. She began snickering, and I grew more impatient. She asked if I saw the picture, and I said I did. So, while my friend had shown her teacher, whom she was close with, the same photo she had shown me. The teacher was confused and troubled by the photo. When my friend asked why the teacher seemed disturbed, the teacher asked when the photo was taken. My friend replied with, "The same day you're seeing the photo." The teacher explained, the girl in the photo was not supposed to be there. I theorized that the girl in the photo was dangerous, and was not supposed to be there because she was expelled, and my friend paused and told me, no, she had been dead for months. If you enjoyed Donut, forget to subscribe, and you can also share your story on the Gmail given in description.